Hey YouTubes! So, that was a little articulation exercise. I'm going over low range today, just a little bit, not super in depth. I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes. That's my hope. That was a little exercise by Jason Solomon. He has a YouTube channel that is much bigger than mine, and you should go check it out. I'm going to link it somewhere. Here or here or something. I don't know. Maybe in the description below. You should go check it out. He's a professional bass trombonist. He's much better than me, and he knows what he's talking about. So you should go check him out. He's very good. He's got lots of videos on range, articulations, low range, all sorts of things. Go check him out. And that was his exercise. He just released this video. It's basically just play the melody from Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. Man, I almost forgot. That would have been horrible. You just play that in the low range from low F down to pedal F, and it's really hard. I can get down to like pedal A flat, and then it's too much for me. Go check out his video. He's knows what he's talking about better than I do, and he sounds better than me, even though he plays pretty much the same instrument. Anyway, I was playing on. Here's what I usually play on. Sorry, I can't see that when I point at it. I was playing on my friend's 72H. I cleaned it up for him. Now it's like a real instrument. This is an Elkhart 1956 72H. It's in great shape. Plays great. Sounds awesome. Using my George Roberts mouthpiece on it because that's what he used. George Roberts used a mouthpiece like this on this instrument, so not this one in particular, but a 72H. Man, it sounds great. Feels great. Vintage cons or something else, especially this one. Disclaimer. I'm making a little disclaimer. If you're not super great at low range, make sure you take all this advice with a grain of salt. Because if you try and play any range too much, like over any other range, then everything will suffer. So try and do the Goldilocks method. Do everything in the middle. Do lots of everything. Everything in moderation, as I like to say. That's a famous quote. I can't remember who said it. Thomas Edison. One of the founding fathers or something. So never focus on one thing too much. Always play a bunch of low range stuff one week or one day, and then next week or day play a bunch of high range stuff or a bunch of middle range stuff. Never focus on one thing too much. Especially if you're a bass trombonist and you're just like, I want to play low. I'm only going to play pedals. Don't do that. Because everything else will get worse as a result. Alright, rant over. I'll talk about articulation a little bit. I've talked about this before in another video. You kind of have to change in your mouth where your tongue articulates against your teeth or between your teeth as you move through different ranges. For me, and this is just me, as I go up, my tongue moves up and back, and this should be generally the same for everybody. Just the way it moves, not exactly where. But as I go up, my tongue goes up and back and starts to articulate maybe like more against the roof of my mouth. And as I go down, the tongue gets lower because I have to have more open cavity to make sound with. And it eventually tongues between my teeth. And that's just how I do it. Some people don't have to do that. Other people do. It's up to you to figure out which way is best for you. I'm not going to tell you exactly which one you should be doing. But I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where that changes over, but it's somewhere in the like double trigger range, like C, C sharp, something like that. So just know that when you articulate in the low register, it's not always going to be in the same place unless you're a monster and you can just magically do that. And as you go lower, you don't feel like you're not articulating enough, then try articulating lower a little bit, and maybe I'll clear that right up. So articulation, it's hard. Once you get down to the low range on that exercise, let's see if I can even do this. Yeah, I'm missing notes. It's not even. That gets really difficult because you're playing through 2 valves, or maybe 1 valve, and a lot of tubing anyway. It's the same amount. You're playing through your entire instrument basically. That gets really difficult. So I'm not gonna say exactly what to fix. I obviously have things to fix, but it takes a lot of air. It takes a lot of concentration. It takes a lot of focus. Because if your aperture is like too wide or something, then notes aren't going to speak right away. So it just takes a lot of work. You really have to know what works for you and you only. All right, moving on to Teele's. Hopefully some of you guys know who Phil Teele is, the famous LA studio bass trombonist. He's really good. Plays lots of pedals. He sounds really good. He's played on every soundtrack that you've ever heard, basically. And he played on, whatever movie you can think of. He probably played bass trombone or contra or chimbasso or something. You've heard him play. And he's got a book called Advanced Embouchure Studies, I think is the name of the book. I have it. And it basically just says, play lots of pedal tones. And I won't go into the super details, but basically every day you do like this really rigorous couple-hour-long routine that makes low range and eventually high range in the other days better. And I only use the low range ones because the high range stuff is really ridiculous to me, and I'm just kind of lazy, so don't read into it too much. But I have to choose which one to play. I'll choose this one. Basically, he has you play pedals in sets of 20, as many sets as you want. I only do 2 sets of each note, going down chromatically. So I usually do, they're arranged by days. I only do day 1 and 2. Day 1 you start on pedal E flat and you go down to pedal B flat, or double pedal B flat. And day 2 you go from low E flat, an octave above that, all the way down to the same note. So day 1 doesn't take as much time as day 2, by far. And basically the whole point of the book is to make sure you're using the same face for everything in your entire range. So you're not shifting way out of character for really low pedals, like to try and play them loud. Because you can't do that. Alan Rafe has a video where he demonstrates how to play loud pedals. And that's great. I do the same thing. I can't exempt myself by any means. But it's really good to be able to play it all with one face, because eventually you're gonna have to be able to play a solo where you're gonna have to play like slurs from like pedal C to low C or something. And if you have to change, like take a mouthpiece off your face, you can't do that. So I'll just demonstrate day 1. Yeah, I guess I'll do day 1. Starting on pedal E flat. This is what they kind of sound like. So the first 6 or 7, I lost count already. Notes of day 1. He has a warm-up too. I don't do the warm-up because it's crazy. It's just more pedals. But basically you just play 20 of those, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then you play 20 more, and then I go to the next note. But you can play 2 more sets of the same note. And you just go down chromatically to D, and then D flat, and then C, then B flat. And it's just nuts. Takes a long time, and if you have neighbors, then they're going to hate you. So, make sure you know what your audience is. Those are really good exercises. And the second day, you just start up an octave. And it's loud today. Woo! That's what it does. It's already done some work for me. Second day, you go up an octave, and you go all the way down to the same note. I know I'm running out of time. So, work on Teele's. If you're not sure what you're doing, then don't do them because they might hurt you. It opens you up a little too much sometimes, even for people like me. And also, play music in the low range, like the Smooth Criminal Melody. Alright, YouTube, I'll see you next time.